December 21st, 1939, minus 40 degrees Celsius, the Kola River, Finland. A Soviet colonel raises his binoculars and scans the snowy forest ahead. His orders are simple: advance through this sector. Intelligence reports say maybe 20 Finnish defenders hold this position. His regiment has over 4,000 soldiers. It should take 3 hours, maybe less. What he doesn't know is that one man is watching him right now. A farmer, 34 years old, 5 foot 3 inches tall. This farmer has never attended military academy. He has no formal combat training. He's using a rifle that's already 40 years old. And in the next 100 days, this farmer will single-handedly kill over 500 Soviet soldiers using a technique so simple, so brutally effective that Soviet commanders will create special units just to stop him. They'll call in artillery strikes on empty forests. They'll send entire squads to hunt one man. They'll fail. His name is Simo Häyhä, but the Soviets will give him a different name, the White Death. This is the story of how one farmer's unconventional approach to warfare created the most lethal sniper record in military history. And the technique he used was so basic, it violated everything military snipers are taught even today.
To understand how impossible Simo's achievement was, you need to understand the Winter War. November 30th, 1939. Stalin orders the invasion of Finland. His reasoning is strategic. Leningrad sits just 32 kilometers from the Finnish border. He wants buffer territory. The mathematics are absurd. The Soviet Union has a population of 170 million people. Finland has 3 million. The Red Army has over 10,000 tanks. Finland has 32. The Soviets have over 3,000 aircraft. Finland has 114. Military analysts in London, Paris, and Washington all predict the same outcome. Finland will collapse within 2 weeks, maybe 3 if they fight hard. Stalin gives his commanders similar expectations. He plans victory parades in Helsinki by mid-December. Soviet soldiers are told to pack dress uniforms for the celebration. But Stalin makes one critical miscalculation. He's counting numbers, men, tanks, artillery. He's not counting something else: problem-solving ability under impossible conditions. The Finns are outnumbered 5 to 1, sometimes 10 to 1. They can't win conventional battles, so they won't fight conventional battles. Every single engagement will be about finding technical solutions to impossible problems. How do you stop a tank column when you have no anti-tank weapons? Finnish engineers discover that bottles filled with gasoline and tar stick to tank armor better than simple gasoline. They'll call these Molotov cocktails, mockingly named after the Soviet foreign minister. How do you defend against overwhelming artillery when you have no concrete bunkers? Finnish engineers design temporary fortifications that can be abandoned and rebuilt within hours. And in one specific sector, the Kola River, one farmer will solve the most fundamental infantry problem. How do you kill enemy soldiers without them ever knowing where you are?
Simo Häyhä is not a professional soldier when war breaks out. He's a farmer from Rautjärvi municipality. He's also a hunter. He spent 2 decades shooting small game in Finnish forests: squirrels, rabbits, birds. When mobilization orders arrive, Simo reports to his old unit from mandatory service. He's assigned to 6th Company, JR 34, Jaeger Regiment 34. His equipment is basic: a standard Mosin-Nagant M2830 rifle. No modifications, no special ammunition. His company receives defensive positions along the Kola River. The terrain is familiar to Simo: dense forest, rolling hills, frozen lakes. The enemy is not familiar.
Soviet 155th Rifle Regiment, over 4,000 soldiers advancing with armor support and artillery. The Finnish officers understand the mathematics. They cannot stop this force in open combat. They need every advantage possible. One advantage they have: Finnish soldiers know these forests. Many grew up hunting here. The obvious solution is sniping. Pick off Soviet officers, disrupt communications, create fear and confusion. But there's a massive problem with conventional military sniping, and this problem will get snipers killed in Finland's winter conditions. Standard military doctrine in 1939 teaches that snipers should use scoped rifles. A telescopic sight provides magnification. You can identify targets at longer range. You can aim more precisely. Except in Finland, in winter, scoped rifles have 3 fatal flaws. Flaw 1. Scope glint. Glass reflects light. Even tiny amounts of sunlight bouncing off a scope lens can be visible for hundreds of meters. In Finland's snow-covered landscape, where everything is white, a small flash of reflected light stands out like a signal flare. Soviet counter-snipers are trained to spot scope glint. Once they see it, they know exactly where you are. Flaw 2. Elevated position. To use a scope effectively, snipers need to raise their heads higher. You have to position your eye several inches behind the scope. This means your head rises above cover. In winter warfare, where you're hiding in snow, this creates a silhouette. Flaw 3. Breath fog. This is the killer problem in -40-degree weather. When you breathe, moisture from your breath condenses instantly in frozen air. It creates a visible cloud. A scope sits above your face, so your breath rises directly into the sight picture. This fog appears in front of your scope, but worse, it creates a visible cloud above your position. Soviet soldiers learn to watch for breath fog. It's how they locate Finnish snipers. Once they see the fog, they know someone is there. They can pinpoint the location within meters. Several Finnish snipers die in the first weeks of fighting because of these problems. They're using scoped rifles, they're following standard military doctrine, and they're being killed by Soviet counter-snipers who spot the glint, the silhouette, or the breath fog. Simo Häyhä watches this happen, and he makes a decision that sounds insane to military professionals. He refuses to use a telescopic scope.
Simo's approach violates every principle of military sniping taught in 1939, but it solves every environmental problem that's killing other snipers. Solution Component 1. Iron sights only. Simo uses his standard-issue Mosin Nagant with basic iron sights. No scope. No magnification. This seems like a disadvantage. You can't see targets as clearly at distance. Your effective range is shorter. But in exchange, you eliminate scope glint entirely. There's no glass to reflect light. You're invisible in that spectrum. More importantly, you can keep your head much lower. With iron sights, your eye sits just an inch above the rifle. You can press your face into the snow. Your entire body profile stays below cover. Solution Component 2. Snow as active concealment. Simo doesn't just hide behind snow. He engineers his position. Before taking position, he compacts snow in front of him. He creates a solid barrier that won't spray powder when his rifle fires. Loose snow kicked up by muzzle blast creates a visible cloud, another way to give away position. Compacted snow prevents this. He also places snow in his mouth. This seems bizarre until you understand the thermodynamics. When Simo breathes, the moisture hits the snow in his mouth first. The snow absorbs the water vapor. When he exhales, the air is much drier. It still creates some fog, but significantly less. And critically, the fog stays lower, below his sight line, not rising above his position. Solution Component 3, Extreme Position Discipline. Simo builds his shooting positions with engineering precision. He selects locations with specific characteristics. Natural depressions where he can shoot from below ground level. Multiple escape routes through dense forest. Background that breaks up human silhouette. Clear lanes of fire covering Soviet approach routes. But here's the remarkable detail. Simo never fires more than a few shots from one position before moving. Soviet doctrine is to call artillery fire on sniper positions. Simo understands this. He shoots, kills, and relocates immediately. Sometimes he moves after just one shot. He's sacrificing convenience for survival. It's exhausting, crawling through snow, rebuilding positions. But it means Soviet artillery always hits empty forest. Solution Component 4, Hunter's Patience. This is where Simo's background as a farmer and hunter becomes critical. He spent years tracking animals. He understands patience. He understands waiting for the perfect shot rather than taking marginal opportunities. Military snipers are often taught to take shots at exposed targets when opportunities appear. Simo does the opposite. He waits until targets move into specific kill zones where he knows the exact range. He's memorized these distances. He's already adjusted his sight picture for them. When a Soviet soldier moves into a pre-ranged zone, Simo's shot is almost automatic. No scope adjustment needed. No ranging calculation. Just muscle memory from thousands of hunting shots over 20 years. His accuracy is devastating. Finnish soldiers in nearby positions report that they almost never hear Simo miss. One shot, one target down. But what makes Simo truly terrifying to Soviet soldiers isn't just his accuracy. It's that they can never find him. Soviet doctrine has answers for snipers. Send a squad to flank the position. Call artillery. Use counter-snipers. These tactics work against normal snipers because normal snipers can be located. Simo can't be located. His iron sight approach eliminates every visual cue that Soviet soldiers are trained to spot. No scope glint, minimal breath fog, no high profile, no muzzle flash from poorly concealed positions. Soviet soldiers start dying in specific sections of the Kola sector, and they have no idea where shots are coming from. Officers die, machine gunners die, soldiers carrying ammunition die, all from invisible shots. The psychological impact is enormous. Soviet soldiers become afraid to move in certain areas. They start refusing to advance. Officers have to threaten their own men to push forward. Soviet commanders realize they're dealing with something unusual. Intelligence reports identify a sniper of exceptional skill operating in the sector. They don't know it's one man. They assume it's a rotating team of expert snipers. They create special hunter groups, squads of Soviet snipers with one mission: find and kill the White Death. These squads have scoped rifles. They have the best training the Red Army offers. They have numerical superiority. They spend weeks hunting through the forests. Simo kills them too.
Let's walk through how a typical engagement works for Simo during January 1940, the deadliest month of the Winter War. Pre-dawn, 4:30 a.m. Simo awakes in a dugout shelter behind Finnish lines. Temperature is -38°C. He eats a cold breakfast. Finnish soldiers can't risk fires that create smoke and give away positions. He performs maintenance on his rifle, checks the action, verifies iron sights are still aligned. This rifle is his life. He treats it accordingly. Dawn, 6 a.m. Simo moves forward to his selected position. He's wearing all-white winter camouflage. He moves slowly, carefully, leaving minimal tracks. Where he must cross open areas, he crawls. This approach might take an hour to cover 500 meters. Soviet soldiers, by contrast, move in columns on roads and trails. They prioritize speed over concealment. This difference in philosophy is why Simo keeps killing them. Morning setup, 7 a.m. Simo reaches his chosen position. He scouted this location days earlier. It's a slight depression behind a fallen log 70 meters from a trail Soviet patrols use regularly. He compacts the snow in front of him, places loose snow in his mouth, arranges his body to minimize profile. His rifle barrel extends just inches beyond cover. Now he waits. Mid-morning, 9:30 a.m. A Soviet patrol appears, 8 men. They're walking in a loose column. They're talking. Simo can hear voices carrying in the cold air. They're not expecting contact. This sector has been quiet, according to Soviet intelligence. It's quiet because Simo killed the last patrol 3 days ago from a completely different position. Simo lets the lead scouts pass. He's aiming at the 4th man in line. Officers and NCOs often position themselves in the middle of patrols. This target is carrying himself differently, more confident posture. The man steps into Simo's pre-ranged kill zone. Distance, 72 meters. He has taken this exact shot hundreds of times in practice. One breath, exhale slowly, squeeze. The shot cracks through frozen air. The target drops instantly. The other Soviet soldiers dive for cover confused, looking in wrong directions. Simo is already crawling backward. He doesn't wait to see results. He knows the shot connected. He's moving to a secondary position 150 meters away. The Soviets never see where the shot came from. They fire wildly into the forest. They call for support. Artillery arrives 20 minutes later and pounds the area where they think the sniper was hiding. Simo is long gone, in a completely different location, watching the artillery fall on empty snow. Afternoon, 2 p.m. From his new position, Simo observes Soviet soldiers moving more carefully now. They're afraid. They know someone is out here. But they still need to advance. Orders are orders. A larger group appears, maybe 20 soldiers. They're moving in proper tactical formation now, with scouts forward and covering fire positions. Simo watches them through his iron sights. He's not taking this shot. Too many targets, too alert, wrong angles. He lets them pass. An hour later, 3 Soviet soldiers appear carrying ammunition crates. They're moving quickly, trying to get through the dangerous zone. They're not in tactical formation. They're scared and rushing. This is the shot. Simo targets the lead man. The shot drops him. The other 2 soldiers panic and run. Simo fires again. Another target down. The 3rd man disappears into the forest. Simo relocates immediately. Evening, 5 p.m. As light fades, Simo withdraws toward Finnish lines. He's taken 4 shots today. 4 confirmed kills. He's expended 4 rounds of ammunition. For the Soviet forces in this sector, today was another nightmare. Soldiers died from nowhere. Patrols reported heavy sniper activity. Fear is spreading. For Simo, it's just another day of work. This pattern repeats for 100 days.
The numbers become staggering. By late February 1940, Finnish intelligence begins tracking Simo's confirmed kills separately from general sniper tallies. Other soldiers witness his shots. Officers verify the counts. The totals climb into ranges that seem impossible. Over 100 days of fighting, from November 30th, 1939 to March 6, 1940, Simo Häyhä achieves over 500 confirmed sniper kills. Some sources claim the number reaches 542. Others estimate 505. The exact number matters less than what it represents. An average of more than 5 confirmed kills per day, sustained for over 3 months in the worst winter conditions imaginable, against an enemy that knew he was there and was actively hunting him. No sniper in military history before or since has achieved comparable numbers. But the impact goes beyond the body count. Operational impact. Soviet forces in the Kola sector developed what modern military psychologists would call sniper paralysis. Soldiers refuse to move during daylight. Patrols have to be ordered under threat of punishment. Officers struggle to maintain offensive operations because their troops are terrified of invisible death. The Koloa sector, which Soviet commanders expected to overrun in days, holds for the entire war. Finnish defenders inflict disproportionate casualties. Much of this success comes from the psychological impact of Simo and other skilled Finnish snipers. Tactical innovation. Simo's iron sight technique starts spreading among other Finnish snipers. They observe his success and adopt similar methods. The Finnish military begins teaching these techniques formally. Remove the scope, use natural concealment, prioritize invisibility over range. This represents a genuine tactical innovation born from environmental problem solving. Simo isn't following military doctrine. He's creating new doctrine based on what actually works in extreme conditions. Soviet countermeasures. The Soviets throw enormous resources at killing Simo. They create dedicated counter-sniper units. They call artillery strikes on suspected positions. They even attempt targeted bombing runs on forested areas. Nothing works. On March 6, 1940, what finally stops Simo isn't Soviet tactical skill. It's a random explosive round, either an artillery fragment or an exploding bullet, sources disagree, that hits him in the jaw. The injury is catastrophic. Half his face is destroyed. Finnish soldiers find him unconscious in snow. They evacuate him, expecting him to die. He survives, though the recovery takes years and multiple surgeries. The war ends 7 days later. Finland signs a peace treaty that cedes territory but maintains independence. Against all predictions, the small nation survived. Simo wakes from unconscious state on March 13th, the day peace is declared.
Simo Häyhä's technique influenced military sniping doctrine for decades. During World War II, both German and Soviet sniper schools studied the Winter War. They documented cases of Finnish snipers, particularly Simo, using iron sights effectively. Some units began training soldiers in both scoped and iron sight shooting. The United States Marine Corps Sniper Manual, even in modern editions, includes sections on iron sight shooting for situations where scopes are compromised. This directly traces back to lessons learned from Finnish winter warfare. Modern military engineers designing sniper equipment now consider environmental factors that Simo identified: scope glint, breath fog, profile height. Anti-reflective lens coatings became standard. Honeycomb lens covers reduce glint. Weapons are designed for lower shooting profiles. But perhaps more importantly, Simo's story illustrates a fundamental principle of military problem solving. Sometimes the best solution isn't the high-tech solution. Sometimes it's the simple solution that matches your specific environment and constraints. Simo lived until 2002. He died at age 96. After the war, he returned to farming and hunting. When journalists asked about his remarkable achievement, he gave simple answers. "I did what I was told to do as well as I could." He refused to glorify killing. He viewed his actions as necessary defense of his homeland, nothing more. But military historians view him differently, as a case study in how creativity, discipline, and environmental adaptation can overcome overwhelming numerical odds. One farmer, one basic rifle, one simple technique that solved the problem of invisibility in winter warfare. 505 confirmed kills in 100 days. The White Death didn't win the Winter War by himself. Finland's survival came from thousands of soldiers, engineers, and civilians all finding creative solutions to impossible problems. But Simo Häyhä represents something important: proof that unconventional thinking, when matched to specific conditions, can achieve results that conventional military doctrine says are impossible. His technique worked because he understood his environment better than military theorists thousands of kilometers away. He knew Finnish forests. He knew extreme cold. He knew hunting. And he knew that sometimes the old, simple tool is better than the new, complex one. If you found this deep dive into military problem-solving fascinating, this channel explores dozens more stories like this. Technical solutions to impossible wartime challenges that most people have never heard about. We've got episodes on code-breaking innovations, engineering failures that changed battles, and POW escape attempts that required genius-level improvisation. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story. And drop a comment. What other technical military achievements should we cover? Next week, we're examining how Allied engineers built a bridge under direct enemy fire in just 48 hours. A feat that military manuals said would take 2 weeks. The innovation they used is still taught in engineering schools today. Thanks for watching. Stay curious.